Have you ever heard of the custom of putting coarse salt in the corners of the house? Do you know what exactly this ancient Buddhist practice, passed down by monks and healers of enormous wisdom and experience, is for? Thanks to the exciting ancient story you are about to hear, you will discover some of the greatest benefits of salt and the powerful symbolic and spiritual implications behind it. So stay until the end and don't miss even a minute of this precious video, because the information you will receive will help you in your search for inner peace. But before continuing, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. This way, you will be informed when we publish new content for your spiritual growth. In a quiet Buddhist monastery hidden in the Japanese mountains, the wise old monk Hiroshi told his devoted disciples stories of profound wisdom. Dear disciples, there is an ancient practice that may appear simple but which has deep roots in Buddhist wisdom and important symbolic and spiritual implications, the monk continued. Putting coarse salt in the corners of your house may seem like a trivial gesture, but you have to watch what happens when you do it. It's like sowing the seed of change and watching how it flourishes. A young monk raised an eyebrow skeptically. I used to doubt this practice, he admitted, but now I wonder what would happen if I did it. You should know that salt has been valued throughout the centuries, considered more than just a spice. It was traded like gold and many believed it possessed magical properties. But why put salt in the corners of the house? Asked another young nun. Because salt isn't just about making food taste better, Hiroshi replied. It has a much deeper history. And so the monk embarked on a tale that unfolded through ancient cultures and civilizations. From the ancient Egypt of the pharaohs to Gandhi's India, from the regions of Normandy to Bavaria, from Judaism to Buddhism, he explained how salt had been considered a protective amulet, a symbol of unshakable life, a means of purification and harmonization. It is more than meets the eye. Hiroshi said it is a bridge between us and the universe, a key to our connection with nature and with ourselves. His disciples absorbed the words of the wise monk, reflecting on the depth behind such a simple gesture as putting salt in the corners of one's home. And so they began to understand that even the smallest actions can lead to significant changes when intrinsically connected to wisdom and awareness. Every practice has a beginning, he began. And the practice of using salt as a tool of purification and transformation has its roots in the past, intertwined with the stories of monks, sages, and ordinary people. The disciples approached, eager to discover the secrets Hiroshi was about to reveal. In Buddhist tradition, he continued in a calm voice, salt is considered a protective amulet capable of repelling negative energies and purifying the space it occupies. A young nun raised her hand, eager to know more. But how did this practice begin? She asked curiously. Hiroshi smiled, accepting the question. In times past, corners were believed to be places where stagnant energies could accumulate, creating an imbalance in the home environment. By placing salt in these points, an energetic barrier was created that repelled negative influences. The disciples' eyes shone with interest as Hiroshi continued his narration. In Japan, for example, salt is used in Shinto purification rituals to eliminate spiritual impurities and protect against evil spirits. This practice has evolved over the centuries, but its profound meaning has remained intact. Even today, many elderly people cultivate it and pass it down with confidence to their heirs. As Hiroshi spoke, the disciples found themselves transported to a world of ancient beliefs, superstitions, and traditional wisdom. They began to understand that the simple gesture of putting salt in the corners of the house was an act of protection and harmonization with the universe. But the power of this element is not limited only to protection, continued Hiroshi, his eyes bright with wisdom. Salt also has the ability to transform stagnant energies into positivity and create an environment that fosters personal growth and emotional well-being. The disciples listened carefully, fascinated by the words of the wise monk. For them, the concept of using salt as a tool for purification and transformation was becoming increasingly clear and meaningful. And now, said Hiroshi as the fire crackled softly before them, I will show you a simple yet powerful method for using salt to purify and harmonize your home environment. With an air of expectation, the disciples gathered even closer, ready to learn the master's secrets. They knew that even though salt might seem like a common thing, its power was profound and transformative. Hiroshi was ready to lead them on a journey of discovery through the ancient practices involving this humble yet powerful element. First of all, continued the elderly monk, we must understand the role of salt in our daily lives and its connection to the energies that surround us. Salt has been precious throughout the ages, Hiroshi continued, not only for its culinary value but also for its physical and symbolic properties. It was considered a divine gift, a symbol of purification and protection against dark forces. As he spoke, he showcased a variety of salts collected from around the world, from raw sea salt to pink Himalayan salt crystals. Each type of salt carries with it a unique vibration, he explained. Learning to use salt correctly means being aware of this diversity and how it can affect our environment and our inner energy. The disciples contemplated the various types of salt with curiosity, aware of their potential significance beyond the simple flavor they added to meals. "But how can we fully harness the power of salt in our lives?" asked one of the monks, eager to apply what he was learning. "You ask an important question," Hiroshi replied with a smile. "The key is intention and mindful practice. I will show you a method you can use to purify and protect your home environment." "The moon is a powerful energy catalyst," Hiroshi explained. "When salt is exposed to its light, it becomes charged with purifying and harmonizing energy." The disciples watched in awe as the salt absorbed the silvery light of the moon, exuding an aura of tranquility and power. "This salt," said Hiroshi, "can be used to create a circle of protection around your home or to purify interior spaces." With an elegant gesture, he took a pinch of salt from the bowl and scattered it around the perimeter of the monastery courtyard, tracing an invisible circle of protection. "This circle," he explained, "will create an energetic barrier that will repel negative influences and promote peace and harmony within these boundaries." The disciples watched reverently as Hiroshi completed the circle of salt, feeling the presence of a protective energy surrounding the monastery. It was as if the place itself had been enveloped in a loving and powerful embrace. "But the power of salt is not just limited to external protection," Hiroshi continued. "It can also be used to purify and harmonize internal spaces, creating an environment that promotes spiritual growth and well-being." With this, he led the disciples inside the monastery, where he guided them through a series of practices involving salt to purify and harmonize the internal spaces. Each gesture was performed with awareness and intention, as the disciples learned to connect with the power of salt and use it to transform the energies around them. Have you ever noticed how humidity can accumulate on the walls of your home? Especially in certain areas, Hiroshi asked, scanning the expressions of all the people present. Everyone nodded in agreement, recalling times when they had observed this phenomenon in their homes. "Placing salt in those spots can be extremely helpful," Hiroshi continued. "Salt, in fact, has the ability to absorb humidity from the surrounding air, thus helping to prevent the formation of mold and safeguard our health. But that's not all," he said with a smile that suggested a new revelation. "Salt can also be an ally in the fight against bad odors in domestic environments. Placing small bowls of salt in strategic locations around the home, such as the kitchen or bathroom, can help absorb and neutralize bad odors." Hiroshi explained, in this way, salt acts as a natural air purifier, keeping rooms fresh and pleasant. These two important benefits of salt, my dears, although they are not directly linked to spirituality, actually have a strong connection with our spiritual path. Just as it absorbs humidity and bad smells, salt also absorbs energies, emotions, and evil presences. Therefore, it has a very powerful symbolic and spiritual role, and each of us should take this into account.